you're watching The Buck Stops Here and I'm Barkha Datta. Our big focus on the program tonight is going to be on the National Herald controversy, which is turning out to be a political hot potato and perhaps a legal hot potato as well for the Congress party. Sonia Gandhi is calling it a witch hunt. The BJP is calling it corruption. What are the implications of the income tax notice to the Congress party? More on that coming up on the program tonight.
As the Congress president put it more strongly and comprehensively, this absolute vendetta politics shows the fear and the insecurity of the newly elected government despite the good numbers they have.
We are not into vindictive politics. Otherwise, Congress will have no place to hide.
Also coming up later on the program, the BJP has a new Shah. Amit Shah is officially the party president. Remember, we broke that story first here on NDTV. What is the message that is being sent out? Is the modification of the party now complete? We will be having an intense look at that debate later in the program tonight.
सभी कार्यकर्ताओं से मैं यह अपील करना चाहता हूं, आप सबने भरपूर सहयोग दिया है। अब आपको अमित शाह जी को सौंप रहा हूं, इन्हें संभाल कर रखना और हिफाजत के साथ रखना।
Well, let's get started first with our top story this evening. We're looking at the National Herald controversy, one in which, after an income tax notice has been served on the Congress party for a 90 crore loan to a private company in which Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi are the majority owners and now control the Herald House, estimated at 1,600 crores alone in Delhi, and of course also owns several other properties. Sonia Gandhi is calling this a witch hunt. The BJP, led by Subramaniam Swamy, who first brought attention to this case, is calling it corruption. Where does the truth lie? Let's introduce our panel this evening. With me in the studio is Subramaniam Swamy, who, as I said, first flagged the country's attention on this issue. Also with me in the studio is senior journalist, writer and commentator Ashok Malik. From the Congress, joining us from Chandigarh tonight is Randeep Singh Surjewala, senior leader of the party. And also joining me tonight is KTS Tulsi, senior advocate in the Supreme Court. Let me start with you, Subramaniam Swamy. You've heard Sonia Gandhi's statement. She's now gone on record to say this is a witch hunt. We expected this. We're going to come out of this stronger. The argument that the Congress seems to be making is that this 90 crore loan that was given to this organization, Young Indian, was to revive the National Herald, a now defunct newspaper. The Congress is also making the argument that this body is a not-for-profit organization. In other words, Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi are not deriving any personal profit from it. What then makes you believe this is misappropriation of funds?
Well, first of all, let me tell you that the income tax notice is only one part of the whole prosecution. The main prosecution is that the magistrates court has found them prima facie guilty, has asked them to
appear in court,
and on that day they will either be sent to jail for custodial interrogation, or they will have to take bail, and they may have to also give an undertaking about going abroad. Now, that's the main case, which is...
what makes you be so sure that it's one of these three scenarios? I mean, it could be a long court hearing.
No, but on the very first day when you make an appearance, you have to take either bail or be sent to jail. There's no such thing as a proceedings. A summons means when you are asked to be summoned, the court has to ensure that they can ensure their presence in the future.
Let's first explain to our viewers what you think the charge is. What is the charge, very simply put?
Well, put it very simply, Sonia Gandhi, her son, and two others, namely Motilal Vora and Oscar Fernandez, set up a 5 lakh rupee authorized capital company.
Yeah.
And they ended up in a very short period of 1 year owning more than 2,000 crores of real estate.
Real estate that they say is owned by a not-for-profit organization.
Well, first of all, there is no such thing as non-profit organizations under Section 25. If the company tomorrow is liquidated, then the property will go to these shareholders, and 76% of the shares are owned by mother and son. Okay. So really the giant share of that property will go to them. Okay. Now the process by which this happened is without spending a penny, they acquired 2,000 crores worth of property.
Let me put that to Mr. Surjewala. Mr. Surjewala, how does the Congress explain this? It looks like suspicious bookkeeping at the very least. You know, the Congress is continuing to argue that, that there's no question of private profit being made in this because it's a non-profit organization. But isn't Subramaniam Swamy absolutely accurate in saying that basically now an organization in which the Congress president and the vice president are majority owners, they own 76% of this company, now control property worth 2,000 crores?
Barka, let me begin by saying that Mr. Subramaniam Swamy, right from attacking Mr. Atal Bihari Vajpayee with his slanderous allegations up to the Gandhi family is
like a tape recorder
as the head of the BJP's dirty tricks department. But coming back to the merits of the case.
Yes.
Firstly, National Herald was founded in 1937 by Pandit Nehru and other colleagues to make sure that the democratic polity in the and the space for the Indians pre-independence, which was largely controlled by large money bags or by the Britishers, their viewpoints were put across.
Okay.
Since then, Congress is very proud to associate itself with National Herald because our ethos and ideas are coterminous with those of National Herald.
Okay.
Indian National Congress extended from time to time to ensure that it gets over its financial problems 90 crore rupees.
Yeah.
It has been taken over by young Indians.
Yes.
Mr. Subramaniam Swamy forgets to mention two important facets. He leveled all these allegations with Election Commission of India in 2012
Lie.
to recognize INC. His case was
he goes on
rejected
repeating this
by
lie.
a reasoned order. He forgot to go in a higher court in appeal. Number two, you can continue to say, sir, what you want to.
You have telling a lie.
Secondly,
that's the problem. You have every broadcast you bring out this and you don't correct yourself.
Director cannot get any dividend or profit. Mr. Swamy, have some patience to hear.
Yeah, but
Mr.
you don't have
Modi
to.
is not
I'm
going
telling
to award
you.
with you a cabinet
Start
berth in
telling the
this
truth.
fashion. A
Start telling the
not-for-profit company cannot give a single rupee of dividend.
But Randeep,
a not-for-profit company cannot utilize a single rupee for a purpose other than objects of the company. How is the profit being earned by any member of the Gandhi family at all? They are only repository. The entire money of the company can only be used, Barkha, just one line I will need. Entire money of a not-for-profit company can only be used for the objects of the company, and those objects are propagation of democracy and secularism.
I have a question now.
And why is Mr. Swamy, as a recruiter, self-appointed, so worried about INC?
I am going to interrupt you now by asking you a question. The question is this, that if this is for the Congress propagation, why did you need to create a private company in which two people are the majority owners? Why couldn't this company be held equally or by many senior leaders of the Congress party? Isn't it signaling that the party is in effect the property of two individuals, Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi? Isn't the political signaling at the very least all wrong?
I am very happy that you asked such a question. Young Indian is nothing but a Congress entity, except maybe in its legal terminology. What does Young Indian seek to do? It seeks to do exactly the same thing that Indian National Congress in its many facets seeks to do: propagate secularism, protect democracy, and ensure that the ideas of Father of Nation and Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru are protected, preserved and propagated. Not a rupee of property can be taken away by any director. Not a rupee can be taken away by shape of dividend or profit. Not a rupee can be given by way of salary. All that Mrs. Gandhi or Rahulji or Mr. Oscar Fernandez or Mr. Vora are seeking to do, and others, are preserve and protect those ideals. So it's nothing but a Congress entity. And Mr. Subramaniam Swamy, as head of the dirty tricks department of BJP, on account of his vengeful vendetta, he is seeking to...
Now there he doesn't have brakes in his voice, he has only accelerator. What is the lie he keeps repeating everywhere is that I made the same charges to the Election Commission. He doesn't have the basic knowledge to know that the Election Commission cannot consider criminal charges. I had said that the Congress party should be de-recognized, At that stage, the election commission replied to me that there is no provision for derecognitions because of income tax fraud committed. So you have to go to the income tax people.
Okay.
Which is what I did.
Okay.
But he goes on repeating this everywhere.
Okay, let's park this and look at the
born
issue.
liar.
Let's park this and look at the
Why
issue.
did you not file an appeal?
Why should I file
Why
an
did you
appeal?
not
Because
file
I
an
can
appeal?
derecognize it later. I am planning to send you people to jail.
Because your allegations
Election
were
commission
treated
cannot
as
send you to jail.
mischievous
Use your
and
brains
motivated
if
and
you have any
rejected.
brains at all.
Okay, come on, let's stick to point. Both Subramaniam Swamy and Randeep Surjewala. This is not a personal
Problem
quarrel.
is that you
This
are
is not a
brainless
personal fight.
and you
1 minute.
continue to-
You are a moron.
Okay, come on, Dr.
And
Swamy,
you
let's
tell
not get
him what he
personal.
says. You are brainless, he
Fight a war
says.
for Mr. Modi.
Okay, 1 minute.
I think you should have some sense of decency and decorum.
Oh,
That is perhaps
Congressman
for this
teaching me
reason, Mr.
decency.
Swamy,
Okay, come
that
on.
you were terminated
Gentlemen, come
and
on.
removed even by the Harvard University.
Subramaniam
on account of
Swamy
your
and
extremist
Randeep
views.
Surjewala.
At least I have a genuine degree, not a fake degree.
We are here to discuss an issue. Let's stick to the issue, please. Let's not personalize this
Yes.
argument.
He
Let's
started
stick.
it.
That's why you were so summarily rejected.
Oh, come on. Let's move on. My request to both of you, let's move on. Let's not bring this debate down to this level. Ashok Malik, what is the issue at the heart of this debate?
The issue at the heart of it is the National Herald was a national institution set up by Pandit Nehru, who was a very respected figure.
Yeah.
It was given land by various government and public institutions, like many other newspapers
Yes,
were,
that should be said too.
to foster a free press. Today, there is no National Herald newspaper, and the property given to the National Herald newspaper belongs to a company owned by 4 people. That is the crux of the matter.
Yeah.
However, the Congress may try to explain it. It is an embarrassment for the Congress,
But
they prima facie they have a case to answer for.
But when they are answering by saying that this any money derived from this there's no salary to the owners.
2 questions.
There is no
2
profit
questions.
going
2
into their
questions.
pockets. This is not personal profit.
Okay, fair enough. 2 questions. One, the rent or the whatever is got from those properties.
The offices in Herald House to begin with.
We don't know where that money is going. We don't know how the money is being used because there is no National Herald newspaper.
Yeah.
He says, Mr. Surjewala says, it's going to be used to propagate secularism.
Yeah.
Now, how is that going to be
But
done?
he's
We don't
also
know.
saying that Young Indian is a Congress entity. It's another Congress
Fair enough.
offshoot,
In that
so to
case,
speak.
set up a trust which has acclaimed people. Mrs. Gandhi can be a member of the trust. The Congress can own that trust or promote that trust rather. Or the Congress can even own the National Herald as a sort of institution. Why 4 individuals?
KTS Tulsi, how do you see this? My question to you is this, that is there a problem legally because political parties have income tax exemption and that money is not meant to be used for other purposes. One of the allegations, one of the charges against the Congress is it had no business giving this loan to a private organization which was owned by 4 people. If Randeep says that this is in fact a Congress entity, then as Ashok asks, why is it constricted to just 4 individuals?
Barkha, I want to say that firstly Dr. Subramaniam Swamy has done great amount of national service by bringing about many cases in the courts, but in this case he is perhaps flogging a dead horse, because so long as in this country propagating democracy, the principles of democracy and the principles of secularism is not a crime, this case has no legs to stand on. He's flogging a dead horse.
Why?
Because this is a case where, because you know, the Associated Journals has exactly the same objectives. The objective of it was to be a mouthpiece of the freedom movement, of being able to bring about genuine democracy in the country, and also secular values. Those are the stated objects in the Associated Journals object clause. The same as the objects of the Congress Party. It was founded by Jawaharlal Nehru, and the Congress Party has exactly the same objectives.
So are you saying that there is
not
no
only
difference?
that, the
So
young
are you
Indian,
saying- so are
young
you
Indian
saying-
has the same objectives.
So are you saying that by having the same
NDTV may
objectives,
want
they're
to
the same
promote
company?
democracy.
Sorry, Ashok, your question?
NDTV may want to promote democracy.
One
saying-
minute, Mr. Tulsi.
I'm saying that-
I mean,
Tulsi
what
sir,
sort of
Ashok
logic
has
is
a
that?
question.
There are
Ashok.
many institutions in this country which want to promote secularism and democracy. That's not a crime.
No.
But that doesn't mean you can do such bookkeeping.
No, can I answer that?
Please
Yes.
go ahead.
Can I please complete my point?
Yeah, sure, please.
You see, so long as the objects of the 3 organizations, that is the Associated Journals, the Congress party and the Young Indian are exactly the same. There can't be a breach of trust.
But Mr. Tulsi, what if I set up a company? What if I set up a company?
The fruits of that
Sir, come on, 1 minute. This is not making sense. What if I set up a company and I say I also want to promote democracy and secularism? These are sort of motherhood and apple pie statements. Everybody wants to promote democracy and secularism. A common objective cannot be a reason for a financial transaction.
Got the shares.
I could have also got the shares by saying
it is a
Amit Shah
transparent
also
agreement.
democracy and secularism.
It's a transfer of shares by which the ownership has been transferred.
Can I
Yes,
answer that?
yes, Randeep, can someone
the
please answer
ownership is
this?
transferred to the president and vice president of the party,
Okay.
of the political
I'll
party.
just come to you, Dr. Swami. Okay,
so the question really is, where is the breach of trust?
Okay.
The first charge of Mr. Swami is
Yeah.
that this is a commercial venture. This can't be a commercial venture.
Okay,
it
that's
continues
no
to be
such
the political venture
No,
being able
That's
to
not my
promote
charge.
and propagate democracy and secularism. There can't be any breach of trust because he is not the one who has entrusted any money. And therefore, he doesn't have the locus standi. He is not
Okay,
in his
okay,
own
both
party.
Ashok and Dr. Swami. Ashok, one
there
sentence,
is
one
no
sentence.
false representation
Okay,
in this
Tulsi
case.
Sahib, you've had your
Let me
say.
take Mr. Tulsi completely at face value.
Yeah.
Why couldn't the Congress give money to the original National Herald company and say, here's 90 crores, revive
That's a
newspaper?
They
good
could have
question.
done 100 things.
That's
asking you why they
a
didn't do
good
it.
question. Randeep, you want to take that question and then I'll come to Subramaniam Swami. 2 questions. Why couldn't you give it to the original
Yes,
Associated
absolutely. In fact, I wanted
Journals
to ask
Trust
to
that,
answer
yeah,
what
why
Mr.
couldn't
Malik has
you?
been saying, and the answer is rather simple.
Yes.
What is National Herald? What is National Herald? National Herald or Young Indian? Young Indian is nothing but a Congress entity and nothing more, nothing less. Mr.
So
Malik
why did you
says,
need to create a
why
new
form
entity for
company,
this loan?
Why
Yeah,
not
you
form
had
a
to
Why
ask
did you
party.
need to create
That's
a
a
new...
question of legal nomenclature.
Randeep, why did you need to create a new entity for this loan? Because it creates the impression of it being a front company. What is this company exactly doing? If it's one and the same as the Congress party, why does money need to change hands at all?
The simple reason is
Yes.
that Indian National Congress cannot per se as a political party own a company. And we all know that political parties do not own companies. We are
Okay.
very proud of the legacy of National Herald. National Herald unfortunately no longer survives. You constitute Young Indians, but what does Young Indian do? What Mr. Swami refuses to answer and Mr. Malik
Now,
refuses
again
to
he's
understand
started off-
is
you
only
make your own
simple
point.
2 things.
Yeah.
You can't you cannot alienate a single rupee.
Okay.
You cannot alienate a single rupee of property of Young Indian or National Herald. You can't take a single rupee
let me
out.
put that to
You
Subramanian
can't
Swami.
take a single rupee of salary or per
I've
visits.
understood your point.
You
I've
cannot
understood your
take a
point.
single rupee of profit.
Okay, Randeep,
If you
Randeep.
can't do any of these things,
Randeep.
what is the pecuniary advantage
Let
arising
me
to
put
anybody
that.
at all,
It's a
Barkha?
fair question,
That's
and
the
let me
simple
put
question.
it to Dr. Swami with a question of my own.
Yeah.
There is also a sense that you have a pathological hatred, as it were, for the Gandhis. That this is personal for you. This is personal for you. Is it personal for you?
Supreme Court has many times said that personal animosity has no value when a complaint is filed. You have to look at the facts. The court looked at the facts, summoned them as accused. Okay, so it's a court judgment. It's not my doing anything more than just arguing the court.
Is a summons the same as an indictment?
Summons is a it means there's a prima facie case that you are guilty.
Okay, now answer Randeep's question. There's a specific question. There is no private profit. There is no
Absolute-
money.
I think Barkha.
No,
that
I'll
is-
tell him to stop because he doesn't know how
Okay,
to stop.
I'll let you speak.
He
Randeep. I
goes
just have a
on
question.
interrupting.
One minute,
Barkha,
one
there
minute,
is
He
one
has a
minute, one
bad
minute.
habit of
Understanding
going
of
interrupting.
the legal
He
process.
does-
I will let you
he has no
speak on-
breaks in his voice.
One
He's only
minute.
accelerator.
You have a more important question that Dr. Swami must answer, and the question is this. There's no private profit going into the pockets of Rahul Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi.
Who are the owners of this property? That is determined when you look at what happens when you liquidate the company. It goes up to the shareholders. Now, first point. Second point, the land, the concessional loans given by the government to National Herald was for the specific purpose of printing a newspaper, and it was leased land in which the condition is that you cannot rent out the property for any commercial purposes.
But they're saying it's not commercial. It's not a commercial venture.
Wait a minute.
This is not commercial.
Wait a minute. Now, wait a minute. Now, as soon as the property of National Herald becomes of Young Indian, they rent it out to the Ministry of External Affairs and to multinational corporations. They are getting rent.
Let Tulsi
That's
Saab
a
respond to that.
violation, because the terms and conditions of Young Indian says we will not produce the newspaper. And Mr. Rahul Gandhi has gone on an email to confirm it, which is part of the court
KTS
records.
Tulsi, take that question. KTS Tulsi, take that question. The fact that there is commercial activity
Barkha,
in Herald House, there are offices there are people paying rent.
There are people paying rent for the purpose of propagating democracy and secularism. If the money,
to rent
if
the premises,
fruits of that property are being used for a political purpose of propagating,
Sorry,
it can't be a commercial purpose. It remains a political
How do you say that,
purpose.
sir? They are paying rents at market rates. This is not that people
They
are
are
getting
paying rent which is being utilized only for propagating
How is this
political
being done? Since there's no
objectives,
newspaper or website, how is
propagating
this being done?
democracy and secularism.
It's illegal.
This can't be
No,
a
how are you
commercial
promoting
purpose.
secularism?
The end use is exactly the same for which the Associated Journals was created.
Just for the information, of Mr. Tulsi, Mr. Tulsi, just for your information, if you
it's
read,
not commercial.
If you read
it can never be commercial by any stretch of imagination.
Mr. Tulsi, if you
and I want to mention one thing about the locus standi. Dr. Swami mentioned something. Can I just say one sentence?
Yes.
In criminal law, the law is very clear. Even if there are a million questions of law to be deeply gone into, they can only be gone into at the behest of the aggrieved person. Dr. Swami does not say that he has any love for Congress. How can he be complaining of breach of trust? Whose trust? He has reposed no trust in Congress.
Only you can.
Mr. Tulsi, I will answer it. You stopped right there. You are one of the most brilliant lawyers, but you don't have to, landed with a bad case. You don't have to go so far on a limb. Read section 190. It says any person can bring a statement containing facts that lead to a commission of an offense.
Not the criminal breach of trust, sir.
I am a complaint,
criminal breach of trust stands at a different footing.
Please listen. I am a complainant.
That's a personal offense.
Where I am a
criminal breach of trust is a different thing.
We come state by state. Let me first tell you that I came to the court as a complainant. And section 190.
Why does it bother you? I think his question is, what's it to you?
What's it to me?
What's it to you?
It is government.
This is not public funds.
Let me answer that. Let me answer that.
That's his question.
Let me answer that by an analogy.
Yeah.
The same argument was used against me in Spectrum.
Yeah.
This is government. They decided for commercial purposes.
Yeah.
That is public money.
Wait a minute. What did the Supreme Court say? That Spectrum is a national property and therefore public interest applies. Yes. And every public person has a right to bring it to the notice of court. So you're saying this property belongs to the government because it was leased for the purpose of publishing a newspaper.
Okay, Ashok, we have to start taking last comments now. Ashok.
I have just 2 points to make. One, Mr. Tulsi repeatedly said the money is being used to propagate secularism and democracy, which is wonderful. Since there is no newspaper or website, which is the original purpose of the National Herald entity, how is this being done?
Propagate democracy.
Please, let me finish. We need to know how this is being done. Okay. Second, legally, Dr. Swami is fighting his case. Whether he wins or not, we will know in time to come. Politically, the Congress is isolated on this because this is really the Congress's problem. It's not the Samajwadi Party's problem or the combined opposition problem. It's the Congress's own embarrassment or baby. And the Congress is going to, Mrs. Gandhi came up with a strong statement today that we will fight.
Do you believe that there's any element of political vindictiveness in this?
I think there's the BJP is gleeful, and it should be. Anyone would be.
So that's fair politics, is what you're saying.
Well, Dr. Swami
if you have committed a crime, even prima facie, we have a right to bring it to the knowledge of the court.
But the Congress and the Gandhi family, in particular, are alone in this case. They do not have the support.
We'll fight it out, Mr. Tulsi.
It's
there on the other side.
Okay, Randeep must take this question. Randeep, I have a question. 1 minute, Tulsi Saab. Randeep, the fact of the matter is that the filings of the Associated Journals actually show that loans have been taken. Loans have been taken against this property to start new projects in other parts of the country. Now, what I'm trying to say is if you did not have this property, banks would not give you loans. Point 1. Point 2, there are companies, there are offices in Herald House in Delhi that are paying rents, I assume, at market value. Is that not commercial activity?
The answer is very simple, Varka. 90 crore was not the only liability of Associated Journals Limited. All other liabilities of Associated Journals Limited were taken over by Young Indian. Many of those liabilities were paid by the Indian National Congress in its wisdom, and we are very proud of the fact. Who is Mr. Subramaniam Swamy?
Now he is back again.
About
you are telling a lie.
A Congress entity.
The total liabilities were stated in the Board of Governors meeting, Board of Directors meeting, and 90 crores.
With revengeful personal vendetta acting against the Gandhi family. He is the same person who acted in a similar fashion against Mr. Vajpayee.
Now he's gone back again. Like a broken record.
I am saying maybe Subramaniam Swamy is all that you say. That has not answered my question.
I take no notice.
You're a bunch of crooks. That's the problem.
Okay,
the empty rhetoric that Mr. Swamy continues to speak and interrupt.
My question is, what is the commercial activity inside Herald House in Delhi? Are people paying young Indians market rental rates or not, and is that not commercial activity?
Young Indian owns a certain property which it has rented it out. As a legal entity, it is very much within its right to do so. The important question is, there will be a misentrustment when Young Indian uses that money for a purpose other than the objects of the company. That is the moot point. Or if Young Indian was to pay that money to one of its directors or shareholders, or if Young Indian was to misutilize that property or sell that property, even Mr. Swamy agrees.
I don't agree with anything you say, because everything you say is a lie.
Young Indian is here to stay, and it will last much beyond Mr. Swamy and BJP both.
Yeah,
it is coterminous with the Indian National Congress.
Okay. Okay. Last comments, Subramaniam Swamy.
Well, you see, this is a matter which is before the court.
Yeah.
To say that this is a matter, this is political vindictiveness, is actually a contempt of court. Because the court has gone into it, it's given a long order. It's not just a simple order issue process. They've gone into this question, they've gone into the locus standi question, they've gone into all these questions and given a very reasoned order.
Okay.
Now, therefore, the Congress party should have the guts to come and face it, you see, instead of doing this kind of abusing and making, calling it vindictiveness, as if they never filed any cases. What they did in the emergency, they will have to live at least 10 generations.
We'll end it there. Ashok Malik, Subramaniam Swamy, KTS Tutsi, Randeep Singh Surjewala. The Congress will have to explain this in court, at the very least in August, and they will have to explain it to the income tax authorities as well as they respond to that notice. For now, we'll bring curtains down on this discussion. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Moving on now to our other big story this evening, and that is the new Shah of the BJP. Amit Shah is officially now the new party president. Earlier this morning, Rajnath Singh handed over charge, as it were, praising his organizational skills. Let's bring up some of those pictures there. You can see Amit Shah there with Rajnath Singh. Amit Shah, of course, became the front runner for that post after delivering a spectacular victory for the party in Uttar Pradesh. Several opposition parties have responded acerбically to the elevation, both the Congress and the Aam Aadmi Party in particular, saying that his previous cases, the cases that Amit Shah is facing, especially in the Sohrabuddin fake encounter, they say is a new low. The BJP, of course, has welcomed the elevation and said that his organizational skills will bring the BJP much advantage, with one eye, of course, on the assembly elections that are due shortly. All right, let's introduce our panel this evening. We are joined from the Congress. We are joined by Shashi Tharoor, Member of Parliament in the Lok Sabha. We're also joined by Pawan Verma. He's, of course, with the JDU, the Janata Dal United. We're going to be joined shortly by Sudhanshu Trivedi of the BJP, and Swapan Das Gupta will be joining us in the studio. Shashi, let me get first comments from you. On one hand, one would argue that who a party chooses as its president is entirely its own prerogative. Why have we seen so many comments on Amit Shah's elevation, as it were, from both the Congress and other parties like the Aam Aadmi Party today?
Well, it's a fairly unusual choice. I mean, you know, as you began quite rightly, Barka, by saying it really is the BJP's business whom they choose to head their party. And really, we in the Congress party would not presume to have a say in any of their appointments, nor would we expect them to have a say in any of ours. Having said that, to appoint somebody who has a a slightly curious past. He has a pending murder charge against him. He's out on bail. He has certainly not been convicted. We're not accusing him of that, but he has not been exonerated either. He was actually externed from the state of Gujarat for 2 years on charges upheld by a judge in the court that he might influence witnesses in the fake encounter case in which he was charged. And these are rather serious matters, tarnishing somebody who becomes the president of a national party. Now, I do want to stress we're not presuming guilt. There is a judicial process in our country, and he may well be found to be totally innocent. But the fact is that while these charges are pending, it is still quite a remarkable position for someone with these things hanging over his head to accomplish. And we're looking at him being the youngest president of the BJP, a party that's been headed by the likes of Mr. Vajpayee, Mr. Advani, and so on. And now Mr. Rajnath Singh, who's the Home Minister of India. It's obviously a position of a certain stature. And we ask whether these pending charges should not have been cleared before such a stature was accorded to the same gentleman.
Okay, we will get the official response from the BJP in just a moment. But Swapan, we were talking about this last night as well, and you said that the important thing was that Amit Shah's past should, in a sense, not cast any sort of shadow on his present. That the important thing was that nothing that raised the controversies of the past should ideally ever happen again. But Shashi Tharoor and other parties today have made the point that could the BJP or should the BJP not have waited till Amit Shah was exonerated of these charges?
Well, let me say firstly that, I'm touched by the concern of Shashi for the propriety and integrity and the ethical norms of the BJP. And he should also remember that when Mr. Advani was made party president, he too had an FIR against him. He too had so-called criminal case against him, which was of an intensely political nature. Whether Mr. Amit Shah's so-called indictment stemmed from political motive is something which the judiciary will ultimately decide. But I think...
But is it baggage to carry?
No, I think it would be baggage if it is perceived to be baggage. Anything can be baggage if there is a perception that it is a baggage. As far as Amit Shah is concerned, I think the rank and file of the BJP, from whatever little interaction I had with them, seems to be very enthused, and they believe that this is the right man to, at the moment, he may not be the only person, I mean there may be other people also, but certainly he is one of those most appropriate at present to handle a very, very delicate transition of a party from being a party of opposition to being a party of government and managing the relationship between government and party. So I believe there's a particular political task which is in front of him, and I think he is suitable for that job.
Let me bring in Sudhanshu Trivedi of the BJP now. Sudhanshu Trivedi, you've had very sharp reactions coming in from other political parties. In particular, there has been a focus on the charge sheet that Amit Shah is facing. Yugendra Yadav going so far as to say that it has lowered the minimum moral qualification for becoming a national leader. Can anyone remember another head of a national party who's under trial for murder, kidnapping and extortion? It's a new law. The Congress has been a little more understated, but we've got Shashi Tharoor on this program also saying that it's a curious path. Do you believe that this could become a problem for the party? After all, there could be court appearances, etc. going forward.
As far as the charges against Amit Shah is concerned, if you look at the entire history of the judicial trials, he is successively getting exonerated on one issue and the other issue. So it is continuously proving that the charges leveled against him were non-substantive and were politically motivated. As far as his elevation to the party president is concerned, we are not at all affected by these type of politically motivated charges which the Congress government has tried. We have considered three things. Number one, the generational transition which is going on in BJP since several years. Amit Shah ji is just almost 50. When Rajnath ji became party president, he was 54. When Nitin Gadkari ji became party president, he was 52. And Amit Shah ji is just 50. Second thing, we have seen his commitment to the organization and the ideology. When he was Home Minister of Gujarat, he was coordinating with the organization. And in the recently concluded Lok Sabha election, he has proven his organizational ability and the management capacity. Keeping all these factors together, our parliamentary board members have unanimously decided to pass the baton to Amit Shah. I do not see anything significant or anything controversial, anything problematic in that.
Okay, Pavan Verma, come in here. At one level, the BJP could at least argue that it has a younger leadership, it has a self-made leadership, that by contrast, the Congress continues to be in the trap of the dynasty in a sense. Do you believe that the narrative of criticism in a sense has fallen by the wayside because these charges against Amit Shah did not convince voters, for example, during the campaign?
No, Barkha, frankly, it is a choice of the BJP who it appoints as its president. That is a given. And I'm glad that Swapan is touched by the fact that we are concerned. But the truth of the matter is that the BJP is the ruling party of the country. And I believe people have a certain interest in knowing the background of the person whom they appoint at their helm. Frankly, I think I am a little surprised, in fact deeply surprised at the choice. I say this to you, Barkha, because the BJP, you may not agree with its views, has always been an intensely ideological party. A sense of idealism has been asserted by it from the time of Shyama Prasad Mukherjee, Deen Dayal Upadhyay, etc. You may not agree with their views, but you can't deny that. I believe this decision indicates two things. That on the altar of power, the BJP has once and for all put an end to all idealism. The second point is that for the BJP, short-term electoral gain in terms of what Mr. Amit Shah may have done as a strategist, not a statesman, in specifically UP, is far more important than any other baggage he carries. Because let's remember one thing. Let's remember one thing. He has been accused of abduction, of kidnapping, of murder. He is out on bail. The Supreme Court has once even cancelled his bail. He has been asked to be away from Gujarat and was so for 2 years. In Muzaffarpur, there was even a case of inciting riots, but let us not dwell on it. But there is also the other case of a greatly controversial nature which has not been fully investigated, which is that of Snoopgate, where the audio recordings have not been contested. His conversations with Mr. Singhal, the police officer.
But the point...
There is Vanzara in jail. Every police officer who has dared to speak is being punished. So I say, good luck to the BJP. They have chosen to break with the past. And today the BJP has also broken new ground on one other thing, which is complete prostration before what Mr. Modi wants, irrespective of any other consideration.
Let me bring in. I think you've made a number of very strong and provocative, some would say, points. Muzaffarnagar, not Muzaffarpur, and I think the Election Commission then withdrew its notice after Amit Shah explained or apologized or regretted those comments in his own reply to the Election Commission. But Sudhanshu Trivedi, in a way, the BJP would have weighed the pros and cons of this decision. Respond to the specific comment made by Pavan Verma that Amit Shah is a master strategist. That does not make him a political statesman.
Even if Mr. Pavan Verma considers himself as a master strategist, I think it is a compliment for Mr. Amit Shah. But even if you consider himself as a strategist, and when we are in power, we are appointing him as party president, it means we are not degrading the capacity of organization, and we want to have a strong organization build up which will work in coherence with the government. So in my opinion, in a long-term strategy, I disagree with Pavan Verma ji that we are considering just a short-term strategy. We are having a properly planned long-term strategy in which the government and the organization will grow with a mutual strength, and we will be able to serve the purpose of the people of India for their betterment.
Okay, Shashi Tharoor, it's a little bit...
Use any means.
Sorry, Pavan? What? Sorry?
for which long-term purpose you will use any means.
Now, hang on. Here, let's take this beyond the points. I think you've all framed this debate. Shashi Tharoor, is it a little ironic to say to hear Pawan Verma saying that the BJP has today, in a sense, bowed before the power of Narendra Modi? Because some would say the Congress, no one criticized the Congress for bowing always before the Gandhi family. So at least these are self-made leaders. They are younger leaders. They're self-made. They didn't inherit political power. They carved it out for themselves. Both Amit Shah and Narendra Modi.
Yes, but self-made doing what, Barka? I mean, self-made doing what? Mr. Shah's record is one of getting things done, undoubtedly, for Narendra Modi. He did everything from orchestrate the takeover of the Gujarat State Chess Association to the Gujarat State Cricket Association, when Mr. Modi and he took over, to the elections, of course, in Gujarat itself. He had 12 portfolios at one time. The UP elections we've heard about. He is somebody who gets things done. In a sense, this goes well beyond the sort of ideological positions or the positions of belief and practice and philosophy and political statesmanship that were supposed to adhere to the leadership of a party. But there is a slightly more negative concern that I'm sure my good friend Sudhanshu Trivedi will want to address. He mentioned someone like Nitin Gadkari. Nitin Gadkari had not been heard of outside Maharashtra, but in Maharashtra he was known for being the man who built the Mumbai-Pune highway. There was a particular track record. Mr. Amit Shah's positive reputation is only as a man for getting things done and winning elections, whether to chess bodies or cricket bodies or state assemblies. But he also carries with him a nationwide reputation for getting perhaps the wrong things done. We're not prejudging a court judgment, but when he's accused of kidnapping, murder, extortion, and indeed illegal wiretapping, surveillance, all of that, these are fairly serious charges to be hung around the neck of somebody who then heads your national party.
Before I put that to Sudhanshu, Swapan, just a perspective from you. When there is a legal charge, is the answer then to say that if the people don't believe it, which clearly, in a sense, if you look at the verdict, these charges have not had any political consequence for the BJP. Does that take away from their potential moral consequence?
No. Firstly, let me say that I think Shashi seems to be very irked that Amit Shah did manage to get control over a cricket body, something which I fear a lot of people are interested in and have never successfully done so. But let that pass for a moment. I think somehow we are getting that impression, and a casual person who's hearing this debate might get the impression that here is a person who goes out with a gun and sort of kidnaps a person, extorts money at street corners, and is the general local thug. I think I think that would be far from the truth, and I think that's the impression being given is here is a busybody, a person who's bereft of any ideological moorings, a person who's just one of those goons who strayed into politics. I think that is doing a grave injustice to what Amit Shah is capable of. I think Shashi has recognized that he is a very, very competent manager. He may not have written books on ideology, but I can assure you that he has a certain very grounded in what the BJP's belief structures are.
So when Pawan Verma makes the argument,
when all
this
these
is kind of post-ideology.
This is post-ideology. I think their knowledge of what the real Amit Shah is only partial. But this is to get back to your question. No, a popular verdict does not necessarily take away from the sanctity of any judicial strictures, if there were to be any judicial strictures. To say so would be saying a very, very dangerous precedent. But to my mind, and I think this is a point which Sudhanshu Trivedi has made quite a lot, repeatedly, at each point we find that most of the cases against Amit Shah seem to be dropping by the wayside, and they are not sticking. So that is the particular point. And to say that Amit Shah instigated a riot in Muzaffarnagar when he was nowhere near the scene of the thing. And as everyone knows, there were certain specific local conditions. And if Amit Shah was there, he was in his capacity. Mr. Verma, you have a very fertile conspiracy theory, and your sense of ethics seems to be driving you into, fringe positions increasingly. And I think in that case, if you're not very concerned about who the BJP appoints as its party president, I think the gratuitous remarks should be kept aside. But overall, I think, I would repeat the point that there is a political purpose behind the appointment of Mr. Amit Shah, and that political purpose is inextricably linked to larger concerns of what you call ideology, which I certainly don't put into such a rigid framework. I call certain belief structures, core values, etc. And I think the important thing is to see how much Amit Shah is able to
answer, Barka?
Okay, one at a time. Shashi, go ahead.
No, I too wish we could take comfort in the notion that this is a sort of post-ideological appointment. We don't believe it is. I think that the appointment of Mr. Shah as somebody who will get something done in the service of the RSS ideology. So there is no question in our minds that merely because he is being described as an organization man doesn't mean that he's post-ideological at all.
You know, you have been among those who've been saying that Narendra Modi, just one second, Pavan. Shashi, you've been among those who've been saying that Narendra Modi, since taking over as Prime Minister, has surprised you. You even got into some, you had to clarify to your own party why you had that kind of praise for him. Do you believe that Amit Shah could surprise you as well?
Well, that remains to be seen. Right now, all we've seen of Mr. Amit Shah on the national stage is as a man who organizes election campaigns and apparently has a major role in orchestrating the election victory of the BJP.
Which is
now, obviously, with more elections coming up a few months away, that's his principal role. The question still is, it's whose victory and for what purpose? With Mr. Modi, all I have said, as you know, is that he said the right things. We're yet to see what he does. And when we judge him on the basis of what he does, Mr. Shah will certainly be by his side, ensuring that he delivers on the electoral numbers that Mr. Modi needs to pursue the convictions he has. So these are still important issues for us to watch closely.
Swapan has a point, and then I'll come to Sudhanshu.
Yeah, I would say by that logic, Shashi, you would say that Mr. Amit Shah has done the right thing. He has succeeded in the right way. Winning an election, as you well admit, is not a trivial achievement. Certainly winning more than 70 seats in Uttar Pradesh is not a trivial achievement. And therefore, we have seen what he can do. Now let's see what he can articulate.
Yeah. Okay, Pavan, go ahead, and then Mr. Trivedi. Yeah, okay. Yeah, Pavan. Yes.
First of all, let me make the distinction between commitment to some form of ideology and a dedication to idealism. Why do I raise this? Swapan may not like it because he's become a hard-nailed proponent of who is an electoral strategist, and everything else doesn't matter anymore. And anyone who talks about it is talking about a fringe element. I am saying to you that the BJP in this election, rather successfully, bolstered by a great deal of projection and promotion, took a high moral stand against everything that appeared to it to be unidealistic, including, most importantly, corruption.
Yeah.
And then, having come to power, it appoints the president of the party, which is an exceptionally important post, who has cases not of a minor nature.
Let Sudhanshu Trivedi answer
that. Which party?
Let Sudhanshu Trivedi answer that. I think that's a reasonable question. Sudhanshu Trivedi, is there a mismatch between what the campaign was run on and the appointment of somebody who has pending cases? And it's also being compared with, for example, the quick ouster of Nitin Gadkari as president, whom some would say had relatively milder charges against him. But at that time, the BJP took a very firm position that they did not want the imaging of this post to be problematic at all. So when you compare it with that, I think the question that Pavan is asking is, have you taken a greater risk with a disconnect between what you ran the campaign on and this appointment?
In this context, in continuation with what Mr. Swapan Das Gupta has said, I would like to further extrapolate. Now, in the last 50-60 years, we have become accustomed to be accused on one pretext or the other. But I would like to ask Congress and other so-called secular parties that in decade after decade, from 1950s to the allegation of Gandhi assassination to 60s, the firing on the saints of Go Hatya movement to 70s on this emergency, and 80s and 90s on Ram Janmabhoomi movement, and 2000 decade, the targeting of Narendra Modi. You see the decade after decade, they said that they are trying to put a remedy to the disease of communalism in Indian politics, but we kept on growing to the stature that we have become a single majority party for the first time in post-independence history. Yeah. I would like us to ask them that they must have an introspection, and I would like to say a couplet with slightly improvised form. It is a famous share. Marize mazhabi siyasat. कम्युनल पॉलिटिक्स मरीजे मजहबी सियासत पर लानत खुदा की मर्ज बढ़ता गया जो दवा की यू हैव टू फर्स्ट इंट्रोस्पेक्ट व्हाई द थिंग कीप ऑन गोइंग एंड द थिंग्स आर इन फ्रंट सो इन माय ओपिनियन दे शुड नाउ
मैं रिप्लाई बाय रिटर्न
ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड
यस पवन गो अहेड
Barka, just to reply to him, another couplet, Sudhanshu ji. खतावार समझे कि दुनिया तुझे बस इतनी भी ज्यादा सफाई ना दे. The point is very simple. We wish the BJP well. They've made a certain choice. They are buttressed by the fact that he delivered certain results. I'm not going into how, and I don't even know how much credit goes entirely to him. But I am surprised for the BJP. I don't. Swapan will say, I am very touched that you are surprised. It's a national party, it's a ruling party.
Okay. I have
People look up to it. Why should you appoint a person who was accused of kidnapping, abduction and murder, which is the Supreme Court monitored investigation?
I've got just a minute left on the show.
It's not a trivial accusation.
Okay.
I'm so glad you're touched because, Pawan, your party didn't even want to cohabitate with us the moment Narendra Modi took over. So I think, you didn't even want to be, and you didn't want to share the same bench.
Okay. Shashi and then Sudhanshu. Yeah, Shashi.
But Barka, very briefly, I mean, the fact
I would like to respond to
Mr.
Gadkari was already president of the party. When Mr. Gadkari was already president of the party and certain charges were raised, he was asked to step aside.
Yes.
If the charges that are now already raised against Mr. Amit Shah had been raised when he was already president, would he not, by the same logic, have been asked by the same BJP to step aside?
Okay, Sudhanshu Trivedi, please answer that.
How can they justify naming him with those charges?
Sudhanshu, very quick last word, please, and then I'll wrap it up with Swapan.
On the issue of Mr. Gadkari, even after 1.5 years of the allegation, nothing was proved. In an RTI answer, it was proven that no case is pending, no inquiry is pending in Income Tax Department. And now finally, one sentence in reply to Mr. Pawan Verma. When you are going for the cause of change and commitment to the ideology, you have to be ready to face the hardships, but ultimately you will reach the top.
Okay.
In a line which is used in RSS, which is न जो बर्फ की आंधियों से लड़े हैं कभी पग न उनके शिखर पर पड़े हैं.
Now beyond the sort of
RSS को devalue इतना भी मत कीजिए.
Okay, beyond all the शेरो शायरी.
कह रहे हैं कि जिनके against ये charges है उनको president बना दीजिए.
Okay, I'm giving Swapan the last word, and the last word is this. Shashi asks an interesting question. If these charges had come up when Amit Shah, in the tenure of Amit Shah being party president, as they did with Nitin Gadkari as party president, would the party's response have been different? Does that matter today in the larger debate?
See, I think there is a one difference.
Yeah.
There are no personal charges against Amit Shah. Charges are completely political in nature, and they were an aspect of the larger campaign against Narendra Modi, which had been going on relentlessly since 2002. And I think, one of the features we found about this entire campaign against Narendra Modi is that the more you charged him, the more you attacked him, the stronger he got. And I think Amit Shah today should take heart that despite the disclaimer that, oh no, we are not really interested in who the BJP appoints, there is a great deal of emotion, including by people like Aam Aadmi Party. I wonder who they are, but including by everybody across the political spectrum seems to have a view. So I think somewhere along the line it leads me to the belief that perhaps the BJP may have taken a singularly right step in the right direction.
Okay, we leave it there. The debate will continue. Swapan Das Gupta, Pawan Verma, Shashi Tharoor, Sudhanshu Trivedi, thanks for joining us on the Buck Stops here. That's it on the program tonight. We'll see you tomorrow night. Thanks and goodbye.